Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
A grieving daughter remembers the crash that took her mom's life, nearly killing her as well. The man who caused the wreck pleads guilty to reckless homicide charges.
For decades, the remains of unclaimed people have sat in the Winnebago County morgue. Local leaders give the deceased a proper burial.
Plus, getting your tax return might look different this year, but experts have some tips to get you on the right track this tax season. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. As Candace mentioned, snow's mostly done for the day, but if you still have some left to shovel, you will need to bundle up.
Now let's head back over to Candace in the Weather Center. It's going to be a frigid next couple of days.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the coldest air we've felt so far this season. I know we've had a few nights where overnight low temperatures have fallen below zero, but it's the wind chill that we have to be a little bit more concerned with, not only for tonight, but also really for tomorrow night and then into Wednesday, even though the wind won't be quite as strong. Now, we wrapped up about 1 to 3 inches of snow on top of the 2 to 4 that we had late Saturday night into early Sunday. Now we're getting that cold really settling in. Wind chills by tomorrow morning ranging anywhere from 15 to 25 below, but Wednesday morning wind chills in some spots could drop as low as 30 degrees below zero. Now let's talk about tonight. As I mentioned, we have that wind chill advisory does not include Rockford, as our wind chills might not be quite as cold as what they're going to be a little bit further up to the northwest of us, but you see how that cold and those advisories and warnings extend all the way up through the upper Midwest and even up across the northern plains. Now temperatures right now are tolerable, but it's cold. Our numbers sitting in the teens, but already those numbers as far as the wind chill factors are dropping back below zero. By tomorrow morning, wind chills ranging anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees, and some spots could even fall as low as 25 degrees below zero. I think areas a little bit further to the northwest across portions of far northwest Illinois have a better chance of seeing that. Now, I mentioned wind chills that'll stay below zero through the afternoon tomorrow and then dropping down quite a bit for Wednesday. So we'll look at some of those values, guys, coming up here in the full forecast a little later.
All right, thanks, Candace.
A man who caused a deadly crash in Rockford last spring learns how long he'll be locked up in prison.
Last May, 21-year-old Darius McClendon was driving on Harrison Avenue near Kishwaukee Street. He lost control of his car, crashed, killing a 45-year-old woman while injuring her 18-year-old daughter. McClendon was charged and found guilty of reckless homicide. A judge sentenced McClendon to 8 years in prison. Shaylin Eads is the young woman who survived the crash. Now, 9 months later, Eads says the pain of losing her mom hasn't eased. Rachel
Perry spent some time with Shaylin. Rachel, she tells you she will never forget that day.
Yeah, Mimi and Eric. Shaylin was driving the car that day. She tells me when the light turned green, she heard screeching tires as McClendon crashed into them.
Literally watching my mom take her last breaths in front of me.
At just 18 years old, Shaylin Eads sat beside her mom in what would be their last moments together.
And I just remember us sitting there and I thought she was okay, and she was holding my hand and she just looked at me and she was like, "I'm so proud of you, just keep breathing."
Shaylin and her mom, Michelle Eads, were struck by a car at the intersection of Harrison Avenue and Kishwaukee Street in May of 2021.
And then the second car came and lost control and then just hit straight on her side.
The mother and daughter were taken to the hospital where Michelle later died from her injuries. Shaylin tells me she knew the other driver from high school, but seeing Darius McClendon in court was one of the hardest days she's had.
Having to stand in front of him and read off a statement and just see him so nonchalant with all of it, it was really hard.
Saying McClendon took more from her than he could imagine.
Just genuinely was such a breath of fresh air, and everybody got to call their mom. So I think that would be the biggest thing, is just how loved she was by so many and how easy it was for her to love others.
Now she's hoping her mom's story will inspire others to drive safer.
Just because you want the thrill, or just because you're having fun with someone else, or you just want to see how fast your car can go, that's never worth it. It's never worth it.
Shaylin just recently got engaged and says her mom not being at the wedding will be hard, but she lives every day knowing her mom would want to see her happy. Eric.
Rachel, thanks for sharing that story with us. 3 pets are dead after a garage fire overnight. This happened just before 2 at a home on Rotzler Avenue in Freeport. When firefighters got there, flames and smoke covered the garage. It took about 2 hours to put the fire out. No people or firefighters were hurt. Everything in the garage is a loss, valued at around $25,000. Investigators are still looking into how the fire started.
The Winnebago County Coroner's Office gives a proper burial to dozens of deceased people who were never claimed. The cremated remains of more than 240 people were laid to rest in the village of Winnebago today. The Coroner's Office and Winnebago County Board partnered with Calvary Cemetery for the burial. One set of remains had been at the morgue since 1999. Those involved with the ceremony say it was time for a respectful send-off.
They were in that coroner's office for 20 years, so this is the right thing to do, and if their families, should see this and they're looking for them, actually, the majority of them, I think it was just 1 or 2 of the people unidentified, then mostly everybody's identified.
If you think your loved one could have gone unclaimed, contact the Winnebago County Coroner's Office. Volunteers are gathering more data on the local homeless population. It's part of the Department of Housing and Urban Development's annual point-in-time homeless count. Advocates, police officers, and firefighters are handing out surveys to unsheltered and sheltered individuals. During these conversations, volunteers will also help the homeless start the process of finding permanent housing. We'll hear more about the importance of the homeless count coming up tonight at 6.
It's officially the first day of tax season, but this year your returns come with a warning. Everyone who files should expect delays. That's partly because the IRS is short-staffed and still behind on last year's returns. To avoid extra long delays, the agency suggests you file early and accurately and online.
The best way that you can overcome, having to wait too long is just to make sure that you file as error-free of a return as you can. If you e-file plus direct deposit, the majority of folks can expect refunds in 21 days or less.
Tax experts say filers should make sure returns have all of the necessary documents. That includes letters regarding child tax credits and the $1,400 stimulus payment. Parents who received the child tax credit should expect a smaller return.
Thousands of U.S. troops are on high alert today for potential deployment amid heightened fears of a Russian invasion into Ukraine.
Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor joins us to explain what kind of message the Pentagon is trying to send. Eyewitness News is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Good evening. This signals a shift for the Biden administration, which until now was taking a more restrained approach to Ukraine out of fear of provoking Russia.
It's very clear that the Russians have no intention right now of de-escalating.
That's why the Pentagon is preparing to send as many as 8,500 U.S. troops to join the NATO response force.
No decisions to deploy have been made. So this is about getting units on an advanced heightened alert. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going anywhere.
The decision is ultimately up to NATO to activate the 40,000 total troops from allied countries. But Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby says this tells Russian President Vladimir Putin that he cannot weaken the NATO alliance.
This is about sending a strong message that we're committed to NATO and we're committed to assuring that our allies have the capabilities they need in case they need to defend themselves.
President Biden met with his European counterparts this afternoon on the escalating situation at the Russia-Ukraine border.
We've always said we would reinforce our allies on the eastern flank.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says the commander-in-chief has still not ruled out any response, including diplomacy, sanctions, and military action.
The president has been direct that military action by Russia could come at any time.
And the State Department has ordered the families of all American personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine to leave the country. Ukrainian officials have criticized the move as premature, but some U.S. allies are following suit. In Washington, I'm Jesse Tenor.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, the day started off with plenty of snow. It wasn't a lot, anywhere between about 1 to 3 inches of snow, but enough to cause some issues and some headaches on the morning commute. That did wrap up about mid-morning. We had the cloud cover, but now we're seeing things clear out. A live look with a Mercy Sky Track camera looking off to the northwest here in Rochelle. We're going to continue with that mostly clear sky, and that's going to help our temperature tonight drop back below 0. We'll settle right around 3 below, but we hold on to a northwest breeze, which will bring wind chill factors as low as anywhere from 20 to 25 degrees below zero. Current temperatures right now sit at 15 in Freeport, 16 in Rochelle and Rockford. Wind chills for most are above zero, but as we get further into the night, we are going to continue to see that wind chill factor fall back, and it'll remain below zero, not only through the night tonight, but through the afternoon tomorrow, really dropping tomorrow night into Wednesday and staying below zero for much of Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. 16, our weather watcher Bob here on the southeast end of Rockford checking in, had about 2 inches of snow from what came down late last night and early this morning. 3 below, that's our forecast low, but notice the wind still coming in anywhere from 5 up to 10 miles per hour. We'll have some gusts close to 15. So what that's going to do for our wind chill factors tomorrow morning. This is important, bringing those numbers 15, 20 degrees, 25 degrees below zero, a little further off to the northwest. While our wind will lighten up just a little bit here as we go through the afternoon. Notice what happens. Our wind chills do not warm much during the day tomorrow. So wind chills could still remain as low as 10 below in some spots, even 11, 12 degrees below zero, as the temperature struggles to make it much above 10 for tomorrow afternoon. That's a high temperature. Now, high pressure moves closer to us by tomorrow night. That really allows our temperature to tumble. In fact, we'll likely end up in the double digits below zero for the actual air temperature. But look where it sends our wind chill factors. Even though the wind won't be as strong, you've got wind chills 25 to even 30 degrees below zero. That means within a matter of 20 minutes, frostbite can occur on exposed skin. So Wednesday morning is going to be a very cold start. Same thing for tomorrow too. And as our wind direction shifts a little more to the southwest during the day on Wednesday, still our wind chill numbers are expected to remain below zero. Tomorrow's high temperature only near 10 for the afternoon. Winds at times will be gusting close to 20 miles per hour. Now the source region for the cold, we have that northwesterly wind. Look what happens as you get a little bit further up to the north and northwest, way up north into Canada. Current temperatures 25 to 30 degrees below zero. Those are current air temperatures, and that's the source region for that cold with the strong Arctic high pressure system moving in. And unfortunately, we do have the wind to go along with that as we go through the morning. Northwesterly winds gusting 20 miles per hour. Same thing into tomorrow afternoon. But watch what happens to that wind speed tomorrow night. The wind will ease up just a bit. We'll see a lighter wind on Wednesday, but it picks back up as we go through the afternoon Wednesday and Wednesday night once we get that wind direction to shift around to the south. So 10 on Tuesday, guys, forecasting a low of 12 below. It's not record cold, but we're close to it. Little bump in the numbers, and then we see those temperatures drop back here by the end of the week.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
Oftentimes in sports, after a tough loss in the postseason, the gut reaction is to blow it all up. The Packers' 3 painful endings in 3 years probably has Aaron Rodgers and some of his teammates feeling like they can't do this anymore, that maybe a fresh start would be best for everybody. Well, if you step back and let the emotions subside, you look at it, and the Packers last year and this year were 1 play away from beating the Buccaneers and the 49ers. 1 play. When you're that close, you don't blow it up if you can help it. You don't go into rebuild mode. Green Bay is still the best place for Rodgers to add to his legacy. This is probably the most talented roster the Packers have had since their last Super Bowl championship. The depth on this team is amazing, and it showed during the regular season when they kept winning despite all their key injuries. But everything hinges on Rodgers wanting to stay in Green Bay. He won't make a quick decision. He'll weigh his options and see what's out there. But he will have to make a decision before free agency starts up March 16th. He says he will. The Packers are $44 to $50 million over the salary cap. They won't be able to keep everybody. But again, with their depth, they can afford to let some guys go. Certainly not Devontae Adams, but maybe Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, and Randall Cobb, some of their higher-paid players who are replaceable. Has D. Lowry played his final game as a Packer? He has an option year on his contract for next season before it expires. He's due to make $7.3 million next season. The Packers could save some cap money there by letting him go, or Lowry could decline the option year and test the free agent market. He'll never have a better time to become a free agent than right now. He's coming off the best season of his career, and he has his prime years in front of him. He is 27. I'm sure he'd prefer to stay in Green Bay, but Lowry has a decision to make this offseason, and so do the Packers on Lowry. As for the Bills-Chiefs game last night, wow, it's hard to imagine any game topping that for drama. Like most of you, I also was not happy that the Bills didn't have a chance to go on offense in overtime. My solution for overtime is to allow each team to have the football on offense for the same number of possessions. The team that wins the coin toss can choose to go on offense or defense. If the team that has the ball first scores a touchdown, the other team must match that on its possession to extend the game. If the team that has the ball first scores a field goal or doesn't score, then the other team has a chance to match or beat that by scoring a field goal or a touchdown. If they remain tied after each team has the ball or each round, then they would go on offense another round, and so on and so on. So, in the second time, the team that didn't win the coin toss would have the option of starting on offense or defense. No gimmicks, no placing the ball at the 25-yard line or at midfield. Play real football using the entire field. And you've now greatly reduced the impact of the coin toss. That's my take. We'll be right back.
Candace will have a final look at weather in just a moment.
First, here's what News Nation has planned.
The governor of New York promises to get illegal guns off the streets. Should the focus be on the guns or the prosecution? Plus, football. Fans are back and ratings are up. Our viewers starting to let go of the politics. Here's Dan.
Thanks, Leland. Tonight on Dan Abrams Live on News Nation. A record number of police officers killed intentionally in the line of duty, the most since 9/11. We know why this is happening, but why doesn't the media seem to care? That's tonight on Dan Abrams Live.
That's all coming up on the fastest growing cable news network in America. You can catch News Nation on any of these cable or satellite stations. You can also head to newsnation.com.
Clear skies for the first warning interactive radar. We stay snow free for at least the next few days. Next chance for some light snow will work in as we head towards Thursday, but we've got some cold and some dangerous cold to talk about as wind chills tomorrow morning, 20 to 25 degrees below zero. And then Wednesday morning, look at that low, 12 below. Wind chills could drop down as cold as 30 degrees below zero. 9 for the afternoon, little bump in the temperature on Thursday, quick drop on Friday, back near 30 for the weekend.
Thanks, Candace.
And thank you for spending some of your time with us. Stay safe.